Why do people stay in relationships that destroy them? Why do people stay where they are disrespected, ignored, manipulated, emotionally drained? Why do they choose pain when they know peace exists? Here's the truth. People don't stay because they are weak. People don't stay because they are stupid. People don't stay because they don't see the red flags. They stay because the human brain is wired to choose familiar pain over unfamiliar peace. And once you understand this psychology, you will never see relationships the same way again. At the beginning, toxic relationships never look toxic. They look intense. They look passionate. They feel deep. They feel magnetic. They feel like connection. The attention feels powerful. The attachment feels strong. The emotions feel overwhelming. The brain mistakes intensity for love. Drama feels like passion. Control feels like care. Jealousy feels like protection. Possessiveness feels like commitment. The relationship doesn't feel dangerous. It feels important because the brain isn't searching for health. It's searching for emotional stimulation. This is where psychology enters. Toxic relationships create something called trauma bonding. Pain plus affection equals emotional addiction. One day they love you deeply. Next day they ignore you. One day they make you feel special. Next day they make you feel worthless. This creates an emotional cycle. Pain, relief, hope, pain, relief, hope. Your brain starts associating love with pain, not because you want suffering, but because your nervous system gets addicted to the emotional highs and lows. It becomes chemical. Dopamine, cortisol, adrenaline, oxytocin. Your body is literally addicted to the person. Not love, not connection, not safety. Addiction. Here's the most dangerous truth. The brain prefers predictable pain over unpredictable peace. Even if something hurts you, if it is familiar, your brain feels safe inside it, because familiarity feels like control. Unknown peace feels dangerous. Unknown freedom feels risky. Unknown happiness feels unstable. So the mind says, at least I know this pain. At least I understand this chaos. At least I can predict this behavior. Pain becomes comfort, chaos becomes normal, toxicity becomes routine. This is why people return to toxic partners again and again. Not because they love them, but because their nervous system recognizes them. Most toxic bonds are not formed in adulthood. They are formed in childhood. If someone grew up with emotional neglect, conditional love, fear-based parenting, unstable caregivers, emotional unpredictability, their brain learned love equals instability, love equals anxiety, love equals fear, love equals emotional hunger. So when they grow up, healthy love feels boring, calm love feels empty, stable love feels unfamiliar. But toxic love feels like home, not because it's good, but because it's recognized. The mind confuses familiarity with safety. Toxic relationships don't just trap your emotions, they trap your identity. You slowly stop being yourself. You start adjusting. You start shrinking. You start compromising your values. You start silencing your needs. You start doubting your reality. Your life becomes about managing their moods. Your peace becomes dependent on their behavior. Your happiness becomes conditional. You stop asking, is this healthy for me? You start asking, how do I keep them? This is psychological self-abandonment. Another deep truth. Many people don't fear toxic relationships. They fear being alone. Loneliness feels like failure. Silence feels like emptiness. Being alone feels like rejection. Solitude feels like abandonment. So the mind chooses bad company over no company, pain over emptiness, chaos over silence, toxicity over loneliness, because the brain interprets loneliness as danger. Evolutionary psychology. Isolation once meant death. So the nervous system chooses connection, even if it's harmful. People don't stay for the present version of the person. They stay for the potential version, the version they imagine, the version they remember, the version from the beginning, the version they hope will return. They fall in love with a memory. They stay loyal to a fantasy. They commit to a future that doesn't exist. Hope becomes a drug. Leaving a toxic relationship feels like death. Not physical death, psychological death. Because you're not just losing a person. You're losing identity, routine, future imagination, emotional dependency, mental patterns, safety illusion. The brain resists change more than pain. So it says, stay, adjust, compromise, forgive again, try again. Not because it's good, but because it's known. Here is the truth most people never hear. You don't miss the person. You miss the emotional pattern. You don't crave them. You crave the chemistry. You don't want the relationship. You want the feeling of familiarity. Healing starts when you understand this. Peace will feel boring before it feels safe. Calm will feel empty before it feels stable. Healthy love will feel unfamiliar before it feels real. Growth feels lonely. Healing feels uncomfortable. Freedom feels scary at first. But toxic love feels intense, and intensity is not love. Love is safety. Love is peace. Love is calm. Love is emotional stability. If a relationship costs you your mind, your identity, your peace, your self-worth, your confidence, your emotional safety, it is not love. It is attachment. And attachment can be unlearned. Patterns can be broken, cycles can be ended, brains can be rewired, trauma can be healed, but only when you choose unknown peace over familiar pain. Sometimes letting go is not losing someone, it's finally choosing yourself.